Hi everybody, welcome back to another episode of Real Life Fishing. We've got our Real Life Fishing bourbon glass here, courtesy of Scott from Thankful Outdoors. Again, he writes a regular blog celebrating his experiences in the outdoors and what that means to him. I'll throw a link to it down in the description so you guys can check that out if you want to. But we're back today and oh, sorry, I almost forgot. In the glass today, we've got Michter's Sour Mash. But in any event, we're back today, as promised, the video with the Helix 7 unboxing and the NMEA 2K network that we're going to set up. So please, for the love of God, it is NMEA, not NEMA. NMEA 2000 or NMEA 2K, not NEMA 2K. NEMA 2K is not a thing. NEMA is the National Electrical Manufacturers Association, and NEMA are the outlets that you use. They specify the outlet formats. So your standard outlet that you plug stuff into for 110 in the United States and Canada, NEMA 515, right? 515R is the receptacle, 515P is the plug, right? That's NEMA. NEMA numbers. Those are for wiring houses. NMEA is the National Marine Electronics Association. You can check them out at nmea.org. They're the ones that developed the NMEA 2000 standard. And it is a standard, as you'll see in a moment, because a lot of the stuff that I've got on the counter here behind me that we're going to be taking a look at is not made by Humminbird, even though we're going to use it with a Humminbird graph. So let's get started. Let's take a look at what we've got. So this big pile of stuff here, this is all required to set up what I want in my boats. So we'll get to all this in a moment. But for those of you that have been waiting for the Helix 7 unboxing, right? So this is an older model, right? This is a Gen 2. Current generation is actually Gen 4, but the rest of the units in my boat are Gen 2s. So that's what I got. But this is a G2N. The N specifies networking, which is required to set up an NMEA network. Also, just want to give a shout out to the post office as well as Cabela's. I ordered this on the 29th and it was delivered to me on the 13th. So way to go, guys. You don't even have the holiday rush to fall back on. That was weeks ago. So here's what we've got. See how this thing survived the ride. Yeah, looks like it made it in one piece. The screen protector's got a little bubble. It probably happened at the factory. But yeah, all the plastic is on there like it's supposed to be. Yep, looks like it did just fine. So that's what you get. One of the drawbacks to the 7 series, at least back then, and probably still that way, is it uses micro SD and they go on the side instead of full-size SD cards. So, yep, there you go. You get one micro SD slot. Man, look at how small that thing is. Imagine trying to get that card in and out of there on the water. No thanks. I'll stick with my bigger units. Anyhow, this will be perfect for the application that I bought it for, which, again, is to flush mount in my dash, right? But we'll get to that. So what else is included in the box? So this is a side imaging GPS unit. So we get a power cable that's got one of these ferrite chokes built into the cable because it is a side imaging cable. So that's nice. And then we've got a side imaging transducer. Note that this is the older style little guy, right? This is not Mega. So part number on here is XNT9SI180T. The T on the end says that it's got temperature in it, and the T here is for transom. 9 is the series, that's for Helix. 14 would be for Solix. And then we've got the gimbal mount and the knobs for that, which we're not going to use. And we've also got the transducer mount stuff, which we're also not going to use. And then they gave us a manual and some other paperwork, which we don't need. But if this is your first Humminbird, then you might want to read through that stuff. There is some helpful information in there, but I've had many of these for several generations of products, so I'm all set there. So let me go ahead and box this back up here, and we'll set this off to the side and take a look at the rest of the stuff. All right, so next up, you'll notice that there was no cover in the box. For those of you that own 9s, 10s, 12s, they come with a cover. 7s don't. Had to buy this separately. I know, go figure. It was, I don't know, 35 bucks or something. I got it on Amazon, I think. Next up, I'm mounting that in the dash. So this is an in-dash mounting kit for the Helix 7 series. So let's take a look at what's in here. I'm sure there's probably not much for the $50 or $60 or whatever that this thing cost me. I don't even remember. Yay! That's what we get. We get a couple of bolts, some nuts, some washers, some plastic red caps. We get this, which is what goes onto the back of the Helix. And then these bolts will go through this way. And we get a bevel. Outstanding. And then I think there's a template in here maybe. Yep, look at that. Here we go. So we get a template to cut this out. So this will be helpful for me. There we go. Nice. So that'll be helpful for me then when I make that fiberglass panel in a couple months here when it warms up. And then these go against the graph. You get the little clicking detents for when you set the angle, the adjustment of the screen. So get a couple of those too. And they're slotted then on the back. So they fit into these two slots on the back of the mount there. So nice. That's it's an awful lot of fancy pieces for as much as they charge for that. My goodness. They should almost give that away. Should be included with every graph. Imagine that. All right. So NMEA 2K. That's what everybody wants to know about, right? So how do we connect NMEA 2K to the Helix? So I had mentioned that you have to have a networking graph in order to do that. And this is the device that you need. It is an ASETH NMEA 2K. And let me open this guy up and we'll take a look at it. I don't know who designed these plastic clamshells. Not just Humminbirds, but in general. But whoever designed these things, there should be a special place in hell for them. They're impossible to get open, and every time you do open them, they're sharp. Anyway, here we go. This is what you get. So this is a network cable for Humminbird on-boat networks, right? So this would plug into your 5-port switch, or this will go directly to a graph. In my case, I'm going to go straight to the graph. And then the other end of this here is an NMEA 2K port, right? So to get this connected to the graph, right, and they give you a pretty little booklet here that shows you how this works. I'll throw that away. To get this connected to the graph, though, because, of course, you need to buy something else, some other kind of adapter from Humminbird to make stuff work, right? So I'll show you. So this is the ASEC QDE, and this is that round 8-pin barrel on one end, and then the other end goes into the back of the graph. So let me get this thing open here now. Deal with this clamshell. Outstanding. All right, we've got the next part now. So, what do we do with this then? So this thing here, as soon as I get this stupid twist tie off, there we go. And we'll take this one off. We'll put this network together here on the bench real quick. So, 2 twist ties, really? For a 2-foot long cable? Unbelievable. All right, there we go. Now all the twist ties are gone. So this end is going to go to the NMEA network that we're going to build, and this end is going to go to the graph, right? So we need to put these 2 pieces together here, like this. And then this end goes to the graph. So just imagine the graph is on the other end of this. So what do we need to get started then putting together this NMEA 2K network? Well, we need an NMEA network starter kit, right? Which is what we've got here. So this one, I'm not even sure. I think this one might be Lowrance, I believe. But it doesn't matter. Again, NMEA is a standard. So you can buy parts from Ray Marine, you can buy parts from Garmin, you can buy parts from Lowrance, whoever you want to. I got parts that were the most cost effective. Humminbird, coincidentally, does not really make any NMEA 2K stuff except for this guy right here. So in any event, we need a starter kit. And what's in the starter kit? Let's see, can I get this one open somehow? Oh, look at that. They were nice. They just taped this one shut. All right, so here's our starter kit. What's in our starter kit? Well, we got a couple T's and a couple terminators. We've got a power cable. Oh, it's a twist tie, cleverly disguised as a rubber band. So here's our power cable. Okay, so in here, got our fuse holder. So in here then we've got a 3-amp fuse. And then this is your power and your ground for the NMEA network. And then this is going to connect to one of these T's. So we'll wire this up to power on the boat. So pretend this is wired to power on the boat. Put this over here. So now this is our power drop, right? So we're going to screw these together, and they're keyed, just like the network cables are for the Humminbird stuff. So we'll screw these together here. Okay, so now we've got the start of our network, right? So this is this group of T's, and any cable that connect on the horizontal like this, that's called your backbone, okay? And then these are called your drops, right? So one of those goes to power, and now we need one of these to go to this ASETH NMEA 2K adapter so that we can connect this to the graph, right? So for that, I'm just going to use this small little cable here. This kit came with a short cable and a long cable, but I'll just use the short cable because we don't need anything crazy on the bench here, right? So we'll set this longer cable off to the side. So here's the shorter cable, right? So we're going to take another T, and we're going to connect that T to the first one, just like this, to extend our backbone. Then off of this drop, we're going to put this extension cable, or drop cable. And then this end here connects to the Humminbird device. So there we go. We've got our backbone, we've got power, and we've got our NMEA 2K gateway that's connected to that, right? So what are we doing with it now? Nothing, right? Right now there's no data on this network at all. So we need to add some data. So what kind of data do we have to add? So I ordered 3 different things that I'm going to put on the network. The first, and the reason for doing this, is I have a Yamaha 115 SHO on my boat. And so I am going to connect this to my outboard, and then this will get me all of the data from my engine and will display it on my graph, that Helix 7 that I'm going to mount on the dash, right? So what will this get me? Well, that depends on the motor, depends on the graph. I haven't looked up everything that I will get with this, but I know I will get fuel consumption, I will get trim angle, I will get actual RPM, I'll get engine hours, temperature, water pressure. I do believe I have to add another sensor to the motor, but I will be doing that. But so this is all this cable is, right? One end of it is the NMEA 2K side, and the other end plugs into the harness on the motor, and it comes with a T, right? So just about every component you buy should come with a T. This Humminbird one does not, for whatever reason, but just about everything else will, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to add it to our backbone. Like so. And then we're going to connect this to the drop. Like so. And you'll notice that these T's look slightly different, and that's fine because this is standards based, right? So now we're going to imagine that this is going to the motor. So we'll go ahead and put this off to the side with the other pile of stuff. So what's next? What else did I get for this? Well, I will also wanted to get fuel level. And so NMEA 2K, of course, this is a digital network, right? So your fuel sender in your boat is analog, and it just sends, it's based on resistance. So the sensor reports a range, and it's standardized in the US. I believe Canada is also the same. I don't remember the exact range, but it's, don't quote me, but I believe it's like 30 or 35 ohm up to 220, I think. But anyway, within that range then specifies, kind of the amount of liquid remaining in the tank is what it is, because it's just a fluid level sensor, right? So this particular fluid level sensor here that I got from Lowrance, Simrad, it is pre-calibrated for standard US marine sending units, and it can be reconfigured to European as well. They use a different resistance, but so we'll go ahead and open this up here. And so once again, we get a cable and we get a T. So we'll take off the twist tie that's cleverly disguised as a rubber band yet again. And then we will take the T and we will add it to our backbone, like so. Then we will take the drop and add that here. Then the other end of this gets wired to your sending unit from your fuel tank. And then that will put the fluid level onto the network. So pretend this is connected to the tank. Don't worry, we haven't gotten to these yet. I'll tell you what these are in a second. These were included with the starter kit. So the next thing that I got then, and I think will probably be the final thing for the network, at least for now, is a fuel data manager. So the fuel data manager now, this is just based on my research and understanding what all these components do, but the fuel data manager, according to what I've been able to find, this fluid level sensor simply tells you, some type of percentage based on what's in the tank. It doesn't tell you actual capacity or gallons remaining. And that is what this fuel data manager sensor does, right? So it takes the data from the fluid level sensor as well as some of the outputs from the engine and gives you additional fuel remaining and consumption numbers that are available then on your display. And so once again, this comes with a cable and a T. So we'll go ahead and add the T to our backbone, just like this. And then we'll go ahead and drop this here. And then that's it for this one. This doesn't actually go anywhere. This is just a small computer, basically, right? So you can actually leave this twist tied up or zip tied up or whatever and just have it tucked up under the dash like so, right? So these guys here, what are these? So these are terminators, right? So on either end of this backbone, you'll notice we've got an open connection. You can't have that. This network won't function that way. So on the one end, you put one terminator like this, screw this on, and the other end gets the other terminator like this. And there you go. There's an NMEA 2K network. Provided that you plugged everything in correctly, that's how you build one. That's what it looks like. They're not complicated. If you want to add more stuff, just take off terminator, add another T, put the terminator on, connect your drop, and you're finished. Not complicated at all. They just sound a lot worse than they are when you're researching them online, but now that you've seen me put one together here on the bench, that's all there is to it physically from a wiring and cabling standpoint. So we'll do an episode once I actually start wiring up the boat. We'll show you how I got all this stuff mounted in there and wired up. My plan for power on this bus is I'm just going to wire this directly to the master power on the boat. So when I turn the boat on, the NMEA 2K backbone will be powered. And then the same for that graph, that Helix 7 that I'm going to mount in the dash. When I turn on the power to the boat, the main power, that graph will get power. And when I kill that, that'll black everything out. But once I wire up the boat, as I'm going through doing that process, I'll do a video on that. And then once all that's in there, we'll do a video as well on walking through the Helix 7 and showing you all the screens and how to configure that and get that all set up, because that doesn't appear to be terribly straightforward either. But we'll get that figured out and we'll show you how that all works. And don't forget, we've got that video coming up on making that fiberglass replacement panel for the dashboard to mount that. So look for that. It's still pretty cold here, but hopefully I'll be able to get over to Scott's, a couple, 3 weeks, maybe something like that. So look for that somewhere within the next month. But in any event, I hope that you learned something from this video. If you did, if you liked it, down on the bottom, down there, do me a favor, click that like button. And my goal, of course, with every video is to get one new subscriber. So if you are not subscribed yet, do me a favor, be my one for this video. And right about here, there should be a button, little picture of my truck with a crooked ass trailer behind it. Do me a favor, click that button, subscribe, and thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.